Teach humility to your sons as they transition into adult life. Teach them skills that will make them function better in relationships and workplaces. And we have a thing called the 3 A's, which is about humility, I guess. The 3 A's are teach them to learn how to affirm, so well done. Teach them to learn how to appreciate, gee, I'm glad you did that. And teach them to learn the 3rd A, which is the hardest one, is to apologise, to be humble enough to apologise. And we used to say, still do in the Fathering Project, think about the human species. There's a couple of things that we're not very good at. One of them is flying. Birds can fly, but human beings don't do it very well. The second thing is apologising. It's so hard for a human being to apologise. We're so poor to know what it is. Me too. So hard to apologise. But once your son grows up into an adult life, learning how to apologise, it becomes a great gift of humility and the ability to function in a group and in a relationship, and including apologise to his children if he's lucky enough to have them in the future. The final thing is, dads, to not shy away from those discussion points that require you to be open and honest and that might be a bit uncomfortable. Sexuality is one of those discussions. We have a completely separate presentation on that. But talking to kids about sexuality, honestly, we ask groups of dads, who's ever had the father-son sex talk? And honestly, they don't all put their hands up. They do not. Maybe half of them do, or a third of them do. But it's really important. And they say, oh, you know, I wanted to have a sex talk to my son, but he said, oh, I know it already, Dad. You don't need to. And he's embarrassed. He doesn't want his dad talking to him about sex and sexuality. But here's the thing about the Fathering Project is we think it's important. So here's a benefit to you. You can say to your son, well, I know you know it already, but I was told by the Fathering Project and the dads group at school that it's very important. And I'm sure all the other dads will be doing it, so please humour me. Humour me and let me do this, or I'm going to feel really bad as a dad that I've let you down. Honestly, that works a treat. Humour me, I've been told I need to do it. I did that to my oldest son. And he said he knew it already, and we went for a hike and we had the father-son sex talk. And I said, and he was, you know, really interested because I'm telling him all sorts of stuff. And I said, anyway, you knew all that already, but thanks for humouring me. Anyway, all the way back on the hike, which lasted about 2 hours, yap, asking me questions about divorce and affairs and everything that he could think of. Because, you know, obviously his friends at school have gone through all sorts of things and their parents. So don't shy away from that. And when it comes to those important things that you have to be open and honest about, that includes values. We've talked before recently about teaching boys to respect women as they grow older, but, you know, respect in general. But you can only say so much. Remember, you have to be willing, as we're saying now, to go there and talk about it, even though you'd rather not, and you wish someone else would do it. And why can't the school do it? You have to do it, dads. But you have to model it. I mean, it sort of sounds obvious, you have to model it. But if you say something and you don't model it, right, you're wasting your time. It's never going to work. You have to say it and model it. And finally, the Fathering Project often says this, don't just assume because you model something that they're going to learn it. It works better if you are explicit. Model it and then say, look, this is something really, really important. Be explicit, overcome your own discomfort, to talk to them about things that matter as they transition from being a boy into a man. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, what sort of man do you want your children, what sort of man do you want your boys to be? It's such a big question. You think about it now. What sort of man do you want your sons to become? And honestly, if you're not active in that process, they've got all sorts of influences. In life. The internet, movies, what their friends say at school, all sorts of music, you know, all sorts of things that impart values that, you know, maybe you don't want your boy to have. And if you're not involved in this, dads, you're giving those powerful forces a free hit. I say it again, if you're not involved, and you don't have the courage to overcome your own discomfort and you don't learn about how to do this, you're giving those powerful forces a free hit and you're leaving your son exposed to them. So please, dads, get involved in talking to your sons, imparting values and being honest about things that matter so that as they transition into adulthood, they'll become the sort of man that you're going to be proud of And honestly, they'll be proud of themselves, the way they live their life, and they've got a lot more chance, honestly, of having a successful life. Relationships with a partner, with their own families, if they're lucky enough to have one, and in the workplace. So dads, look, thanks for listening. We talk to you again.